Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. Independence Day have come and gone, but Nigerians are still having that ripple effect from the agitations, from threats to secede, and of course those who have been clamoring for secession, clamoring for restructuring as well. Just some hours ago, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, had actually warned that the country is at the brink of breaking up if restructuring is not done immediately. And he made some suggestions. If you check our playlist, you see it there. But it's the fact that some of the groups in the southeastern state have started speaking up, and they've started speaking up for speaking concerning the issue of actualization of Biafra, and also other issues springing up, and I think it's worth listening to. But before we go into the news proper further analysis, we would like you to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as you update our channel on YouTube. Well, the Pan-Igbo social political organization Ohanaeze Ndigbo for the opportune time had called on the leaders of the country to avoid a breakup of Nigeria by restructuring the polity, even as it backed the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, that there is a crack in the walls of the country and requires prayers to keep it intact. Special Advisor Media to President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Chief Nyawodo, Chief Emeka Atama, said this in an interview in Enugu on the threats by some pro-secessionist groups in Southwest and Southeast who said they would declare Oduduwa and Biafra nations respectively from October 1st, 2020. Ohanaeze said that her position had always been clear, that it stood for restructuring of the country. Ohanaeze said that the remark credited to Osinbajo was one of the most honest statements by a top political office holder in recent time, which deserves commendation. It is true that there is a crack and Nigeria needs a prayer to avoid breakup. It is inimitable. Nobody can deny that. Even a blind man can feel the crack. So if somebody who is inside can say it this way, then it means there is no point debating it. That's the most honest statement to come from any leading government official in this country for some time now. They need to look into it and find out what actually created that crack and how to cement it. It is very clear that something has to be done to avert the breakup. First of all, there has to be restructuring. You have to restructure. We cannot be running a federation in this country. We are not running a federation in this country. What we are running is a unitary government. Especially you are also talking about the federal government taking over the waterways, rivers, and all that. Isn't that a further unitary government? He said. People are talking about things getting down to local government areas. You are talking about harnessing everything to the center. No. They are not sincere. If they want the country to survive, because that water bill will be the final nail in the coffin of this country, because fighting and conflict will erupt in so many places at the same time, and the federal government will not be able to contain it. Also weighing in the movement for the actualization of sovereign state of Biafra, MASSOB, said Nigeria is irredeemable. MASSOB leader Comrade Nnamdi dismissed the vice president's call to prayers as a waste of time, adding that his sudden realization of the sorry state of the country was belated after years of the government's self-deceiving lies and propaganda. He said the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, and the President Muhammadu Buhari to a large extent exacerbated the Nigerians' drift to the path of destruction. The deterioratory situation of Nigeria is irredeemable and cancerous. The parasitic virus affecting the Nigerian state has eaten deep into her bones and marrows, thereby permanently consigning Nigeria to a sickbed. Suddenly, solemn realization has dawned on the Vice President of Nigeria, and he is rising in defense of a crumbling and irredeemable Nigeria. Anything that has any semblance of life and hope had since been buried by President Muhammadu Buhari. His actions and inactions against the indigenous ethnic people of this country has aroused the instinct of self-preservation and heightened the consciousness for self-determination among the people of the Middle Belt, Southwest, Southeast, and South-South Nigeria, respectively. The way he is going, President Muhammadu Buhari may end up the last president of Nigeria as we know it. Wow, that's quite a lengthy one. But looking at this properly, yes, Vice President had said something similar to that. But let's look at this very objectively. If not for the agitation of these guys, sentiment aside, we won't even be talking about restructuring now. The reason why restructuring is beginning to, everybody's now beginning to echo restructuring. Every prominent person is echoing restructuring. Even clergymen are beginning to echo restructuring. For those, of course, who are of still the opinion that Nigeria still need to be preserved, Nigeria can still be salvaged. They're not talking of restructuring simply because other regions are beginning to rise and say, look, we can't take this no more. All right, the level of insecurity is getting out of hand. Okay, a lot of appointments, juicy appointment, lofty appointments have eluded some regions. Okay, the issue of the presidential seat zoning has always, technically, there was no written agreement though, but there's this general acceptable vocal, generally acceptable, though not documented, that Nigerians are presidency is being zoned. First 8 years to this particular region, the next 8 years to this particular region, because it's almost sacrosanct. It's almost sacrosanct that when you do one tenure, it deserves another second tenure. Even just check governorship. Every governor technically must do 2 tenures. So whatever you are doing, it is 2 tenures. And once that person, and one person, once it's done, it goes to the next region. And that has been a way of life. But now they're now saying in question that, look, because of what is going on, the level of impunity, corruption is really high right now, and the fact that some regions have been neglected very seriously, the level of insecurity is alarming. You can imagine just recently the level of criminality going on. Nigerians are clamoring that they need to end SARS now because of so many things, so many videos coming on over the activities that is going on. These are parts of insecurities we're talking about. Boko Haram is there, Fulani militia, headsmen are there doing a lot of mayhem, and all in the same one Nigeria. Nobody's really, they talk, but there are really no actions. And so everybody's thinking, look, we can't continue with this water bill that was just, expunged, suspended for the now. It has not been totally trashed, it was suspended, which means maybe, just maybe in future they revisit the matter. Nigerians no longer trust the government of the day. And the government of the day don't longer trust the opposition because they believe every criticism is from the opposition. So you now find that we have trust issues, and that's why persons are beginning to rise up and call for secession. So if you do not trust this region to handle some of this parasite, then they don't have any business to be in that country. So that's what they're trying to say in the first. Say, look, the reason why everybody clamoring for restructuring right now is simply because some persons have decided to make their voice vocal to say, look, we want to secede. And so, okay, instead of seceding, can we consider restructuring? Now, restructuring now seems to be an option, which is still under debate. Now, you now see why Nigerians are bothered. Now, initially, it was the case of just the Biafrans, IPOB, MASSOB, making glamoring that they want to leave. Now, some persons in Oduduwa Republic, that's the Yoruba nation, Southwest, are also beginning to speak as, okay, we don't want this anymore. We have stayed calm long enough. We want out. And now people are like, okay, let's not all go out. Let's see how we can restructure. Now, the question is, this restructuring has to be true both in paper and in reality. Okay, it shouldn't be a case of paper just talking and in reality what is still happening. But now the question is, if it's going to be restructured, the corruption that is going on, will it be eradicated? There has to be some laws. When you say restructure, after restructuring, there has to be some stringent laws on corruption and corruption practices. Anybody caught doing corruption or an accomplice to any corrupt practices should go by that death by hanging or life imprisonment. All these things will help truly help restructuring. Some proponents of the opinion that if you secede, you're still going to carry the same corrupt leaders into the new country, and this is the problem continues. While others believe, no, we don't believe so. We believe that we have what it takes to make our nation work. Let's secede first. We'll make it happen. So we are going to make laws that will be suitable for us. But the question is, who will be making the laws? Who are you going to enact? Are there let down so many things, so many, questions to be answered, so many things to look into. But in all, what's your take on what all these groups have said? MASSOB spoke, Ohanaeze and Ndigbo spoke. Generally, a lot of persons have been speaking concerning. Do you, for the Biafrans, their heart is sacrosanct on that matter. But do you think, in the event of it not people not in this, what's your take? Between secession and restructuring, objectively, if restructuring is done properly, because my fear now is the restructuring, will it be done properly with all those documentations? Will it be truly implemented, and not just for the documentation's sake, but in reality something different is happening? Let's interact. But I know that a lot of persons will still believe that let's secede, but let's see how it goes.